Welcome to my I'm Possible Dream, and this is Karen, and I have a very, very special guest with me today. Her name is Dorothy Moss. She happens to be my mother, and today she's celebrating her 95th birthday.
Woo!
Can you believe that? 95 years old. Actually, it's not her birthday. I take that back. She's a leap year baby, so she doesn't have a birthday this year.
She's 23.
She's 23 3/4. Next year, she will have a real birthday. So, sorry, all this celebrating we've been doing, forget it. We got to wait till next year.
Okay.
We'll see you next year.
Anyways, I've decided that since I'm here in Michigan with my mother, I'm going to ask her some questions about what it means to be 95 years old, because that's a milestone. I will also tell you that she told me yesterday one of her dreams is to reach 100 years old. And I'm going to ask her right now to tell you why she wants to be 100. Why do you want to be 100?
The reason I would like to reach my goal is that when I will turn 100 years old, the President of the United States will send me a personal letter congratulating me on reaching that goal and to wish me well. And so I think it's important. If I can reach it, I would like to very much.
Okay, so you don't care who the president will be then? It
Makes
doesn't
no difference.
makes no difference. So even though she has some political values here, she doesn't care who the president is. She just wants that letter, right?
I want to prove that I can live to be 90, 99
And one day.
and one day.
Okay. Now, how about Willard Scott? Would you like him to wish you a happy birthday on the Today Show?
I don't know Willard Scott.
He's the weatherman on the Today Show. He wishes everybody who's 100 a
It all
happy
depends
birthday.
which channel.
NBC. You don't watch the Today Show?
I don't watch NBC. I watch ABC.
Oh, well, then we'll have to contact Good Morning America and tell them to wish you a happy birthday. Okay, so if anybody from Good Morning America is listening, wish my mother a happy birthday on her 100th birthday, 5 years from now. Okay, so you were born in the year 1920.
Right.
Okay, that was the time of the Roaring 20s.
Right.
Okay, you don't remember the Roaring 20s.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So you don't remember Al Capone or any of those people?
Oh, in later years, I learned who he was and what he did.
Yeah, but you never met him.
No, I never had the opportunity.
Didn't date him or anything,
No.
huh? Oh, okay.
He was one of the purple gangsters. I didn't know any.
Oh, okay. My mother didn't know him, so guys, we're okay there. So you were born in 1920. You were one of 7 children, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you only knew 4 of your siblings, right?
There were only 5 left.
5 left. Okay. And you were the youngest.
I was the youngest.
She's the baby. And Alex has a song that he sings to me because he's my baby.
Okay.
And Alex, you want to sing it with me?
No.
Oh, it's I'm the baby, you gotta love me. Right? So everybody's gotta love you because you're the baby. And we found out this weekend that everybody does love you. So, hey, it must be because you're the baby. All right. So you had 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
Right.
All right. What was it like growing up the baby of the family with 2 sisters and 2 brothers?
It wasn't anything different. First of all, being the youngest, my mother taught me to have certain chores and to do certain things. And I didn't profit by being the baby and get away with anything. I was taught how to dust and to wipe the stairway. And my middle sister Anne, she was the sergeant of arms, and my mother would say, "You better hurry up and finish doing it. Auntie Annie is coming home from work pretty soon, and she'll be upset with you." So I would rush to finish whatever I was supposed to be doing.
So you learned chores.
So I learned chores. Yes.
Okay, so you had chores. So you grew up with a large family, semi-large family, and your father was a tailor.
Right.
Okay. Did he make your clothes?
No, but if I had a problem, he would show me how to do it.
So that's how you became a seamstress.
Well, I really didn't learn from him because he would baste everything and he would pin everything. I would do the shortcuts.
Oh.
So he used to call me an American tailor because I was using shortcuts and I really wasn't doing it the way he wanted me to do it. That's how I sewed.
So you didn't listen to your parents either, like your kids don't always listen to you. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Oh, I'm going to hold that against you now. Okay, so as you grew up, you went to Northern High School. I don't think it's
I
still,
graduated from Northern.
And I don't think it's still standing anymore. I think it's gone.
I do think it's gone.
Yeah, I think it's gone. And shortly after you graduated high school, you met a man that you married.
Not shortly. No.
Oh.
He met me, but he didn't like me.
My father didn't like you?
The only reason he dated me is that his mother's. My sister was getting, my girlfriend was getting married, and I was helping with the gifts while she was showing it. But my two older sisters said, "Don't just open up the box and say, 'This is towels,' and fold it up and stick it away. I want you to take everything out and show what you've got there." So I had to listen to my sisters because they'd let me know later. Well, my girlfriend's cousin, B. Moss, may she rest in peace, she kept saying, "Dorothy Moss." It was Dorothy Friedman then.
Yep. You weren't married.
No, I wasn't married.
Okay.
"You're breaking my back. I've got to open all these things and refold them. Look what the work you're giving me." And I said, "I can't help it. That's what my sisters told me to do, and I'm doing what I'm told." So my mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law, said, "Oh, I like that girl." And she went home, and she said to Herman, "You're going to marry Dorothy Friedman." And he said, "I know who she is. I don't know if I want to." She said, anyways, she said, "You're going to meet her. She's darling, she's pretty, and I like her." So my mother-in-law had the nerve to call my girlfriend Betty's mother and say to her, "B, can you invite my son Harmon to the wedding? Because I want him to meet Dorothy." Well, I was in the bridal party, and right after the wedding, every time I turned around, I had Harmon holding my hand, Harmon holding me. He was a pain in the neck, and I couldn't meet anybody else because he was always there.
I'm so glad he was.
Then he said, it was an afternoon wedding, and he came and he said, "What is a bridal party going to do? Are you going home or are you going out?" And I said, "There are plans on going to the Book Cadillac Hotel." He said, "Can I come?" I said, "If you want to, that's up to you." So I had the fella that I stood up with it, and they told me to go with him because he was rich. It was Winkler's Bakery from Grosse Pointe.
Wait a second, my husband is rich.
Yeah, no. He had money.
Oh, my husband doesn't. Okay, go on.
But I didn't care. I didn't like him.
Oh, I like my husband.
Harmon was a good dancer, but he liked to jitterbug, and I would not jitterbug.
Okay.
So when they played jitterbug music, I sat out. I didn't dance with them. And from that time on, he said to me, he was working at Kelvinator's, and he said to me, I'm off on Saturday and Sunday. Will you go out with me on Saturday night? Figure, what the heck, I haven't got a date, I'll go out with them. So I did.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we're gonna start over. We've got to take a break.
Okay.
We are back with My Impossible Dream, and this is Karen, and I'm with my mother on her birthday, her 95th birthday. And, she was telling me that, how she met my father, and my father was a pain in the you-know-what, and it's hard to believe because these two were lovebirds. They couldn't keep their hands off each other. They were constantly kissing. They were also known as the Bickersons. But, hey, I think my husband and I are also known as the Bickersons sometimes. But, okay, so he finally started dating you. You started dating him.
And I went out with him every Saturday. He would pick me up at work. I used to work till noon. He would pick me up at noon. He did not go home until 2 o'clock in the morning.
We don't need to know all the details. Remember, I'm still your daughter.
Oh.
Okay.
Nothing wrong.
Oh.
I was taught to be a good girl, and I was a good girl. My mother would have choked me if I had done anything wrong. So I never did anything wrong.
That's why you don't want to go see 50 Shades of Grey.
No, I think I'd like to see it, so I'll learn to see what happened. Anyways, I started dating him, and I found that he was really a nice fella, and I enjoyed his company, and he was very kind. He'd bring me a box of candy, or he loved to buy gladiolas. He bought me gladiolas every week, and my mother would say to him, "Why are you spending all that money? Buy her a pair of hose instead." And I'd say to her, "She needs hose, let her go and buy her own hose. I like to buy flowers." So I had a bouquet of flowers every Friday. So he wooed me, and I fell in love with him.
Well, that's terrific.
Yeah.
So you and my dad were married for how many years?
84 years.
No, not 84 years. You were 84 when Dad passed away.
Oh. Okay.
But you were married 63 years.
Something like that.
63 years. That's a long time to be married to somebody.
Oh, it was like just the other 2 days later. It was time just flew.
So let's talk about some other things in your life. You've had lots of dreams. I know that. You've had lots of little businesses that you've had.
Yeah.
So when I was a very little girl, you just wanted me to look like a baby doll.
Yes, I did.
And you made me these little dresses. Pinafores. And you used to put these little labels in it.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't say my name, I couldn't say Karen, I said Kiki. It was called Kiki's Fashions.
Right.
And you used to make pinafores for everybody.
Whoever wanted them, I made them.
But you didn't make a business out of it.
Well, I copied a business that was on Livernois. This woman came from Europe, and she used to make pinafores that had a double skirt, so they were real fluffy, and they had I'd get the ruffled pants with it, and so when the shop was closed at night, I would make Harmon go with me to the store, and I'd have a pad of paper and a pencil, and I would copy the little pinafores that she had on display. And then I would come home, and so Karen had one for Valentine's Day, one for St. Patrick's Day, one for her birthday, for her aunt's birthday, whoever had a birthday. So she had every color. And I would stay up late at night and iron all of these organdy outfits. As you got older, you became the best dressed little girl at school. The teachers loved you. and I learned to make aprons, and they waited for a gift at Christmas time, and they all got an apron.
They sure did.
So they all accumulated because there was Joel, and there was you. So by the time you came along, that was, what were you, 12 years old?
12 years old when?
As you grew up. I mean,
well, I've already grown up.
Like, you were all 4 years different.
4 years difference, yes.
So when Gary went into the first grade.
When Gary went to the first grade.
He was 5. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't born.
You weren't born yet.
No. Joel was a year old.
Okay. And then Joel, when he turned 5.
I was just a year old.
Okay, so you were. But there was still Gary and Joel in school. When you grew up and you were in the first grade at first Christmas, I made you the fancy apron, and I think Gary was already in the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through school until they all left the school.
Absolutely.
And they each accumulated these gifts, which they kept.
So you did this, and then another thing you did to stay involved with your kids, you got involved as a parent with USY. So your boys were in
before
youth group.
USY.
Oh, you were in Cub Scouts.
We were in Cub Scouts.
I remember Cub Scouts. I remember us going to Chicago, and I didn't have a train ticket, and you guys had to hide me between 2 seats when the conductor. Absolutely, when the conductor came by.
Cheated?
Yes, you guys cheated.
I can't remember.
Yep.
Don't tell anybody.
I've already told everybody. But, that was so long ago. I don't think they're going to come after you, so don't worry about it. But you were Dad was a Cub Master.
He was a Cub Scout Master, and I was a den mother.
Yep, I remember that.
I worked with all these darling, sweet little boys that all grew up. And I used to come up with all kinds of ideas for gifts for Mother's Day. Ashtrays, God, they were crazy, but we used to do them. And they were great kids, and I always managed to give them cookies, so they liked coming to my house. And these kids all grew up. They became Boy Scouts. Your father, your uncle became, when he turned 13, he had the Narratomet Award.
You mean my brother?
Your brother. He got the special award when he had the bar mitzvah.
Right.
Joel didn't want to be bothered, so he was just a scout. I dressed you like a little princess and then you went away to college, and you would call me up and say, Mother, I'm having a date next week. I need an outfit, and I would sew it all up and make sure that you got it. So I spoiled you rotten as you grew up.
Okay. So one of the other things that you are very well known for are your chocolate chip cookies. In fact, this week I had somebody on Facebook ask me for your chocolate chip cookies, but I know you're not baking anymore.
I could if I wanted to.
So how did you become famous for chocolate chip cookies? What's the secret in your chocolate chip cookies?
Everybody liked chocolate chip cookies, and I always made them. If it called for a package, I made a package and a half. So they always had extra chocolate chips in it.
Wow.
That was the secret.
The secret is the extra chocolate chips.
Right.
Well, your cookies were always the best. Now, you and my father went into a business there for a while.
Yeah.
And you were making muffins.
Right.
So you were... He was the muffin man and you were the muffin woman.
I made the muffins. He helped only when we got busy, and he would deliver.
Okay.
And we sold them to businesses that had cafeterias. And so we bring them a dozen or 2 dozen or whatever they needed. And we would finish baking at 5 o'clock in the morning, have it all ready, and then go out and we would deliver everything.
So you guys did a lot of different things together over your lives. I even remember the rabbit farm. Now,
I wasn't involved, but Dad
well, you
did.
used to, when they were in the garage, you were.
No, I would just say hello to them.
You said hello to you just said hello to the rabbits? Oh, okay.
Joel was the rabbit guy. He helped.
Yeah, he used the shovel.
No, but he also learned how to work on it. So he worked with Dad. Gary didn't want any part of it.
I was too young.
And I couldn't handle it.
Okay. So, you've had lots of experiences in your life.
Right.
If looking back, what do you think was your biggest achievement?
Well, the reason we did so many things is that things were kind of rough. And so we tried everything. So that's when I learned the muffin business, and that's when Dad went with the rabbit business. He was always looking for something to make some extra money until he went to work for Gulf and Western, and that turned out to be, he was more successful with that, and things were different.
Okay. So, you had 3 kids.
Right.
And you have, I'm trying to count now, 3, 4, 5 grandkids.
Right.
And I have
6 grandchildren.
6 grandchildren.
Right.
Okay. I lost one somewhere. I'm sorry. I don't know who I lost there. And you have 3 great-grandchildren.
No, I have 5.
How do we have 5?
I've got twins.
The twin. Oh, yes, you do. You have 5.
5.
I'm so sorry. 5 great-grandchildren. That's a pretty large family, isn't it?
As they were growing up, but it was fun with them. I had a strawberry patch in my backyard, and they used to come and pick strawberries. They used to come and have lunch with me. Gloria was a little girl. She would grow up, and Ira, they would come and have lunch with me. I was very close with everybody, so I have an open door.
Well, you still do have an open door. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Alex to join in for a few minutes and, share some stories with his bubby. We will be right back. We are back with My Impossible Dream. This is Karen, and Alex is going to join us for this last segment with my mother, Dorothy Moss, the birthday girl. And Alex, you haven't lived in the same city, with your bubby, but you have grown close to her. In fact, you've spent some time alone with her. You actually drove up to Michigan about a year or so ago. Mm-hmm. What are some of your memories with your bubby?
Well, I think the most memorable ones were with her and Zadie because, those were really the times where I was going through my growth period, and they were just extremely supportive. I think the most fond memories I have are probably from Thanksgiving. It's a damn shame that we don't do this anymore. And I've said for years, that's been the one thing I miss. Even when Zadie had passed on, I think we had at least 1 or 2 more, and it just was always great. I would stay there, and, it's bad for me to say this, but always one of the things I always look forward to is the chocolate chip cookies. She knows this firsthand, because it got to a point where in my life, she would go like, yep, chocolate chip cookies are right there. And I know I drove them crazy, but, it was just so much fun. I always look forward to coming up here, and I still do, because, I admit I should call more often, and I don't, but I think at the same time, it makes me appreciate the time I spend with her in Detroit more. So, I mean, the memories I have are limited, but, I think mostly, the memories of coming up to Detroit for Thanksgiving, rooting for the Lions to lose, and even she would get into it towards the end. And then that one year, I think it was the last Thanksgiving game Zadie was around for, they finally won. And I think afterwards we sort of were like, oh my gosh, they actually did it. And after Zadie had passed, we were like, you want to know what? He got to see them win. But there was one other, and it's sort of sad, but I remember this vividly, and it shows how much Bubby and Zadie loved each other, because I still believe to this day he was there that day. It was the day of his funeral, and we were at home. We went back to their place. I'm playing Scrabble with Uncle Gary. Uncle Joel's doing his thing. You two are doing your thing. And Bubby's in the other room. There's no lightning outside. I want this to be known. There is no lightning outside, no extreme heat, no wind conditions. And out of nowhere, the lights go off for about 30 seconds, and they come back on. And the first thing I hear is everybody's looking at each other, and then Bubby's like, Harmon, I know you're here. And me and Uncle Gary looked at each other, and without hesitation, we said, yeah, that's him. And it shows how much they loved each other, because I believe that there is an afterlife. I believe in spirituality, and your spirit always lives with people. And that was the defining moment that made me realize how special those two were.
We were very close. If we fought, we never went to bed without saying I'm sorry. I had my moments. He had his moments. But he never got mad at me. I could get mad at him, but he never got mad at me. So he always was the one who made up. But he didn't believe in arguing and fighting. He'd say, just sit and think about it. We'll talk about it. So, and he could always have a solution to finish the argument.
And one thing I do want to add is, one thing we have not told people about Zadie is his heart condition. My question to Bubby is, how was it for you to support him, especially through the final years? Because there were times we did not know as a family when the last day was going to be.
Because I was always for him. I was there for him. He had good doctors. Whatever the doctor told us to do, we did. I watched him like a hawk. I never left him alone. I was in love with him, and I wasn't going to hurt him in any way.
But how was it for you emotionally? Because I know a lot of people would say it was just completely draining.
No, I never felt that way. I would only do things that I thought I could help him. And when the time came, and when he went on to hospice, and the nurse taught me how to give him morphine, and I knew exactly what it was going to do to him. I prayed that he shouldn't be in pain, that things should go easy for him. And that's how we lived. He loved me. He never hesitated to say it. And I believed him. Right now, I think he's got a girlfriend.
Oh, he he does not have a girlfriend. No,
he doesn't.
I would say
Karen has dreamt of him. Joe has thought of him. Gary has heard of him. He has yet to come back and say
Bubby,
hello.
he has not seen me yet, and you want to know what? I'm upset about that too.
But you know what? The impossible is not impossible.
Okay.
So, my I'm possible dream. He's in your heart.
Oh, yes.
He's with all of us. He always will be. And you said something today at your party when you gave your speech that, you're in charge, and that's okay. We'll let you be in charge. Because
Oh, I've kind of pushed it.
Oh, that's okay. Because you're our mother, you're 95 years old, and you can tell us what to do, but you know what? We don't have to listen. And with that, I'm going to close out my show, and I'm going to tell everybody, if you have a parent, make sure you talk to that parent, hear their story, share their story. Don't ignore them. Parents are important. That's my dream. With that, have a great day.